Hello everyone, I'm very glad to welcome you during our webinar, Multidimensional Impacts of Service-Oriented Strategies and Functional Economy. Our moderator today will be Amandine, and after I do the technical introduction, she will take care of the rest of the presentation. So as in case of all previous webinars, we are using GoToWebinar and GoToMeeting software. In this case, GoToWebinar. If you have any questions, please put them into the either question or chat window. And at the very end of the presentation, there will be Q&A part where presenters will be able to answer your questions. By default, all the microphones should be muted. So this is the way that you can communicate with the rest of the team. And now I'll pass the presenter rights to Amandine. So let me click and share it with you. Okay, Amandine, you have the full rights. The floor is yours. You can share your screen now.
Do you see my screen?
Yes, everything looks perfectly.
Okay, thank you very much. So hello everyone, welcome to the webinar on multidimensional impacts on functional economy and service strategy. Please welcome our speakers. We have Nicolas Frango, project manager specialized on functional economy subjects at Cyril, Sophie Claude, ergonomist at Pertinence Strategique and Athemis, Anne-Sophie Verret, CEO of Source Solution Company, and Arnaud Boquillon, Head of Prospective at Paulsin. Regarding the agenda, we'll have a first introduction on context and notions of functional economy. Then we'll have the first part on indicators and measures of useful effects generated by functional economy and applied to factory of the future. And a second part on internal effects of functional economy upon work organization. And finally, a third part about external effects of this transition applied within a company Source Solution. In the end, as said before, we will have questions and answers, so you can write your questions in the chat during the session. Regarding the introduction, so we will define service strategy. Services are co-produced by partners with stakeholders, and in the service strategy, we have final results that are linked with the firm employees' ability to understand the customer needs and wants. Keep in mind that functional economy model is based on service-based strategy, and it requires to rethink the business model and economic model. In a functional economy model, you focus on using over processing. You want to decrease your negative impacts on the environment, and you want to dissociate economic development from natural resources consumption. Functional economy also implements efficient and value-creating solutions in a sustainable way and enshrine cooperation within a territory between stakeholders. And we'll see in this webinar that strategic transition towards functional economy also relates to factory of the future stakes. Now that we know that, we can move on the first part about indicators and measures of useful effects generated by functional economy and applied to factory of the future. I leave the floor to Nicolas Frango and Arnaud Boquillon to introduce this subject.
Thank you, Amandine. We're going to start to bring some elements of definitions of useful terms. Three of ones are useful effects, functional unit, and externalities that are words that we often use in functional economy. For this, I'm going to present a concrete case with a company called La Forestienne, which is a supplier of cutting tools for wood. We're going to compare two approaches, the classical approach and the functional economy approach. First of all, what is a useful effect? We can call useful effects the benefits created by the solution, the measure of the benefits are not based on volume anymore, but on the results. So the product, the good, becomes only the support of the creation of the value that is established by the products, the services, and the immaterial resources like knowledge, skills of the company. For example, in the case of La Forésienne, which became a supplier of cutting tools for wood, who designed a new offer based on functional economy. So they didn't sell blades anymore, but an offer of high-performance wood sawing solution. So before, in the classical approach, the client had to buy the blades, ensure himself the maintenance, the assembly, and the sharpening. So the useful effects, it's not really a question with this classical approach. In the functional economy approach, it's a bit different. The client has a global solution, which the useful effects is high performance of sewing and sharpening, which is adaptable at the uses. This global solutions is based on three things: the skills, the product, and the services, as we're going to see just after. But the solution is not always technical, and functional economy bring this new. The solution can be organizational and brought by an adjustment. The relevance of the service can be the solution. If the company search a way to create value, labor factor can be a response by revealing the skills which can be not promoted, revealed by the classical approach. So the industry as a service permits to rethink the professions and the skills. But as we are going to see, it's also composed on product and services. So in the classical approach, the offer of La Forésienne, it's simple. It's just tools of sewing, so blades. In the functional economy approach, it's a package of various things. The first one is advice and expertise developed by the company. It's the first step. The second step is the manufacture and provide tools of sewing. And the third and the fourth are the service of maintenance and sharpening of it. And the fourth, a service of support and logistics to adapt the contract if it's necessary. In functional economy, we have to understand that the uses are really important, and the advice and the expertise of the company to understand the needs of the client is the key to develop a pertinent offer. We can pass to the other slide, please, Amandine. Thank you. In the same way, in the functional economy approach and the classical approach, we are going to try to define what is a functional unit. So the functional unit can be defined we can define it using three questions. We have to think about the function of the product and the potential uses of it by the client. To find it, we can use these questions: what, how many, or how much time. It can help and become a unit of invoice or an element to compare with classical offers. For example, in the case of La Forésienne, what are they selling? They are selling advice and expertise to understand the needs of the client and respond to these needs. They propose supplying blades and maintenance and sharpening of it. How can they do that? They can do that with a medium long-term partnership, and the term partnership is really important because it's not a classical relationship as a client and supplier, but a partnership can bring some value to the relationship. They really can co-build, co-construct the offer to be adapted to the needs of the clients. And to find the unit of invoice, we can ask the question, how much time? It means, for example, in the case of the blades for sewing, the hours of sewing or the quantity of wood sewed. In this, the high performance of sewing can be, I don't know, 8 hours, or maybe cutting some volume of wood, and define this functional unit permit to invoice the true rate of use. After, we can define externalities. Externalities can be defined as externals, unintended impacts created by the activities of production or the activity of production or consumption, sorry, which can have environmental or social impacts, positive or negative. So we are going to identify these externalities, optimize when they are positive, and control and diminish when they are negative. In the classical approach, externalities are rarely identified, or maybe never identified. But in functional economy, it's something important because we think about sustainable development. So in the case of La Forésienne, the functional economy approach permits to use less raw material because of the development of a new product with a lifespan 5 to 10 times more important than classical ones. The logistic can be an externality too, because of the travels. The functional economy approach offer of La Forésienne permit to do reverse logistics and permit to collect back the blades and sharpen it again to reuse or even recycle them. Quality life at work is important too, because the best quality at work it's shown as immaterial resources. And the collect and the analysis of data is very important too. And it's a point of warning in functional economy, because the aim is not to collect every data as we can, but only to choose the ones which will be useful for the analysis of the performance. So we have to be careful of the digital impact, which is increasing all around the world. You can pass to the next one, please. Thank you. So the functional economy changes the determinant of performance, as the model is not based only on measurable and standard indicators. The performance is reconsidered. The service quality. The service is co-produced with the recipient, and the product is not the goal anymore, but only the support of a service. So we go from the value of exchange to the value of use. This change of thinking, it's very important, and this is the difference with Rontal, classical offer of Rontal. We must try to identify non-measurable and standard indicators too, as the quality of service, the satisfaction of recipients and clients, the evolution of the externalities, the analysis of the immaterial resources, or the happiness of employees. So in the classical approach, what is not measured is beyond the scope of performance, but in functional economy, we try to analyze this and treat these non-measurable and non-standard indicators as performance indicators. Thank you for your listening, and I'm going to pass to Arnaud.
Okay, thank you, Nicolas. Short focus on factory of the future. So my presentation is linked with the example shown by Nicolas. And I will try to generalize what he said. So factory of the future is usually presented as only a matter of digitalization, but it is mainly a matter of renewed and enriched solutions for manufacturers. What I mean is that we mustn't lose the stake, the issue, which is mainly dealing with competitiveness, European competitiveness, so what is expressed in made in Europe, how can European industry be stronger, and of course societal and environmental impacts. So according to me, here are the stakes. If we translate these stakes into goals, we can speak about agility, personalization, efficiency, capacity, to decrease the time to market, for example, and so on. And of course, key enabling technologies and digital technologies are a mean, can be part of the solution, but manufacturers ask for solutions and not only for technologies. So it is an important point. And of course, you can easily understand that to be attractive when proposing solution, you have to develop and to include into these solutions services, of course, and not only technologies. Next slide, please. And what we can see is that hopefully European Commissions now talk about twin transition and not only digital transition. And for example, in the beginning of 2020, so the twin transition was introduced as ecological and digital transition. So both together and not only one or one after the other, but both together as a global approach. From a few months, we heard about Industry 5.0, that is a sustainable, human-centric, and resilient European industry. So I picked out a few examples of recent call for projects into the Horizon 2020 program, and mainly into the second pillar, which deals with societal challenges, and mainly into the fourth cluster devoted to industry, digital, and space. And you can easily see in this example that each time you've got a technological focus, usually speaking about artificial intelligence or ICT or digital tools. And then we've got a few words about the way to integrate these key enabling technologies into intermediate solution. And then we've got a stake dealing with agility or circular economy or other societal and environmental stakes. So, for example, technological solution for tracking new material flows in complex supply chain, or digital tools to support the engineering of a circular economy, and so on and so on. So it's only 4 examples, and of course there is many other calls that you can catch and you can work on. Next slide, please. And you have to be aware that European Commission oriented close to €1 billion to a huge program called the Green Deal. So I won't go into detail today about this program, but you have to know that there is attractive calls in the Horizon 2020 program, and there is dedicated money devoted to the Green Deal. That means societal and environmental transition. Okay. Next slide, please. So a few guidelines and syntheses. So do not confuse stakes and means. Sorry. End users as manufacturers ask for solutions, and solutions means technology, product, and service as a whole. So you can hear more and more often expressions such as manufacturing as a solution or robotic as a solution. So the technology is included into a service approach. Think value creation. Global and system approaches are the key. And of course, as Nicolas said, multi-criteria and life cycle impact analysis have to be promoted and generalized, and not only for us, but if you want to apply to a European call, this approach will have to be detailed and work deeply if you want to have a chance to succeed into these calls. And of course, European Horizon 2020 calls can help to follow and to succeed in this way. Thank you.
Thank you very much, both of you. And now we can move on internal effects of functional economy upon work organization. And I will let the floor to Sophie Claude.
Hello, just a few words to introduce myself. I'm an ergonomist who analyze work so as to help executives secure and care the organization so as to fit together profitability, human well-being, and environmental issues. And today we are going to talk about, I think, an important issue for me, but also to be able to move on a servicial model and functional economy. And this big subject is work. And work, everybody talk about work in private life or in professional work, but everyone means different things through the word work. And today I propose we open this black box of work to understand what it is made of and why it is important to understand what it is made of to orientate transition to a new way to produce and to sell to be more efficient and more resilient. Maybe we can move to the next slide, please. Okay, so two people I like, and I hope you will like them too. It's Albert Einstein and also Tom Hanks. Why? Because as you can see, Albert Einstein says practice is when everything works but no one knows why. And in the true life, that's the definition of work. The real work, we don't know how the production goes out, or we think we know, but in fact, we don't know. And it's invisible way that workers do that allows the production to go out, even if there's some hazards, breakdown, and etc. So on. And the second, people I like, it's Tom Hanks, not because of the chocolate box, but because of a film, a movie, Sully, that shows what is this black box made of, and that when we pay attention to it, we can see that industrial organization that is made with procedures that should satisfy everyday work life. So we have to move on and to interest this real work. So we have a plane in Sully. We have an engine that catches fires, and the pilot has a 15-point procedure to respect, but if he understands it's too long to react with urgency, and to save the plane. The control tower and the algorithm of the people who work in the control tower calculate that he should go on safe place in the town, but with his experience, he knows that it's not possible. And then he find out an unprecedented and unthinkable solution. It's to land the plane on the Hudson. And the result, there is no death. So why I take this example, it's because it has to understand sometimes and to accept that the procedure cannot answer the variability of the everyday work life. And that it is important to have a look of how the workers mobilize intelligence, experiences, skills that are developed through experience to answer the reality. Next, please. So I speak about reality and practice at work, and I think it is very important. But to explain you that, I'm going to go through theory. So in theory, we have a condition and we have goals, results. We have to work to satisfy these results. And so the organization is organized in tasks, and everybody has to do the task. And when the results is there, we think it's thanks to the condition that the organization made. But in reality, the results, as I said, obtained not because of the defined conditions, but thanks to the way the workers are going to deal with reality variability. I spoke about chocolate box before, and on the conveyor, the people who put the chocolate in the box, they may do things that are not asked. But thanks to these things, the chocolate box can go out and be sold with quality, chocolate of quality. And they can, for instance, deal with breakdown. They can detect not well-designed chocolate. And so it's because they do this real work that the results are effective. So if we don't pay attention to what they do in reality, we will think that the defined conditions are the ones who allowed this. And this way to think, industrial and classical way to think, that the process and procedure can answer the reality, is to react as if nothing happened in life. Every day is the same that happens. And now we're going to see that in servicial economy, it is even more important to open this black box. So next slide, please. Okay, in servicial economy, and today no one can say that the industry is not concerned about services. Services are integrated in industrial economy. When we sell goods, for instance, cars, we sell warranties, we sell options, we try to adapt the color of the car to the people, etc., and so on, or the way to help the customer, the driver, maybe to maintain his car in a good way for 1 or 2 years. So the services is here in the industry. And the problem with servicial economy is that they people more than the actors of the company. They the customer. And the customer is going to have his own expectations that can move from a day to another one, that can move from one customer to the other one. And in the same time, the employee does still have this procedure to apply, and that are done, organized in an industrial way. It's a procedure that should be done every day the same way, more or less. And so the employee is going to have to find a solution in face of the customer in the very instant time to find a solution that satisfies both enterprise company and both customers. So we can see that the real work is even more important in this case of servicial economy. And it is also important because through this co-production with customer, Nicolas spoke about that before, the employee is going to analyze the need of the customer. And that's a new thing. I mean, he's not just going to sell something, but to analyze this need. And also this aspect of his work is not well visible and not well known. And it's a strategic issue to open this black box and to understand how the employee does this part of the work. We can go next. Okay, so to be less theoretical, I'm going to speak about an example that is quite industrial because it's a company of 15 people who maintain industrial equipment. So there are technicians in this company, they are commercials, and they maintain machines for Safran, Moulinex, industry like that. And they also do projects of automatization, modernization of the production equipment of the industrial company. So they deal with technique and industry. In the first stage of this company, the organization system is very industrial. Everyone does have a specialist task. There is someone who answers the customer, analyze the order, and then plan a technical intervention to maintain in emergency sometimes, the most often, the customer equipment. And then it's built with the hour that the technician spend in the customer site, and on the tools or the goods, technical goods that were put to maintain the machine. So the organization, the enterprise company, is always on a firefighter mode. They have to go very quickly and just to do technical things. And in the reality, when you open the black box of the technician, you can see that they do bigger work that allows the service to be well done, but it was not evaluated, and that was the way. That was a big issue of this black box, to help the enterprise to move on more efficient and relevant service to the industry. We can go next, please. Okay, so in fact, the technician, the wheel work, is not to do a technical maintenance service, but is to see, to hear, to analyze, to do, to advise, listen, redefine quality, reliable services. Okay, just as an example, when they go on site for a specific machine, they have a list of tasks they have to do, a technical task. But in the real life, there are several actors, operators, that are going to ask for help on some machine that are not concerned about the technical action this day. And these technicians are going to listen to this operator who ask for an intervention another day. And speaking with this operator, he understands that the problem is not to replace a piece as the operator of the customer asked for, which is good for the company to sell more intervention. And in reality, they understand that the problem is the structure of the machine, the production machine itself. It's not adapted to the work that is asked to the operator and asked to the machine. So they give relevant advice, but it's not valorized, as I say, but it will work. And on the machine that was supposed to be maintained, they do the job they have to do, but in a moment they cannot understand why the machine reacts in a way. It is not normal and it's blocked. And so they need to speak with an operator who is who usually use this machine, but they cannot find him. And after they find this person that explains why the machine always reacts this way, which is not normal. So it is thanks to the cooperation of this operator, which was who was not included in the intervention in the contract, that the technician can maintain the machine. And they can understand through this experience that it is not a technical problem in this organization. It was an organizational problem, what Nicolas said before. This problem with this machine they had to maintain, it was since 1 year that happened. But the communication was not good inside the clients, and the maintain service department did not know that the operators had this problem every day. Okay, so we can see that the technician deals with very more needs and question than just technical, and they take this in charge. And this is the same thing for the other people in this little company. We can go next. And so what I mean with that is often this will work. It's a treasure because we can understand that to build and to sell a relevant service, industrial service, it's not necessary to sell even more, always more technical intervention. It is important to reveal what it is needed to do in the work so as to touch this relevance of services. So that was the position of this company. And before this transition, we had to discuss of what it is, what the value the workers and the executive of this company give to this real work. Because you have to make a choice. or you stay in a very technical industrial system, or you do the choice to be more relevant and to adapt the organization and to adapt an organization that helps the good skills to be developed in the company. So first, on the left side, you have the original system, industrial. Everything is focused on the machine, the technical diagnosis. It's a system organized with just a coordination of tasks. Each department are connected by information, but no discussion, and to construct, adapt answer, a specific answer to each case and each customers. And what is sold, as I said, is technical hours. And in the service built with the customer, we can see that it's not the same thing that it will be sold. It's the analyze of the needs of the customer, and maybe they will know technical action to do, but they will be helped to perform the organization of the industrial customer, for instance. And there is not just one prescriptor, but there is a multi-actor system, which includes operator, maintenance, and the commercial of the customer. And in the company, it includes also a multi-actor system with technician, commercial, and coordination. And so what will be solved is not also the same thing. So in the company, have to be organize a discussion of where we want to go. Next, please. And to finish with this use case, in this company, this discussion was organized, and so helped to modify the commercial offer that won't be now to serve the more technical intervention, but to discuss with the customer and with the technician what is the need that is hidden behind the order to do a technical action. In the resource management, it will also be different. Instead to just tell the people how they have to do, with which procedure, and etc. so on. They will have attention to what the real work is made of, and attention to help the different departments to discuss and work together on each case, almost each case. And so the organization also is going to move on less with less division of tasks, but more cooperation. And so there will be also some time to build together this solution for the customer, when before the time was expensive, when people were not predicting where they were discussing. Okay, next thing, please. Yes, and just before there were a little phrase, we can go back, please. Just to understand, when I explain this case, it's really not just a change and a quick change. It's a trajectory. It's a course. It takes time to change the way to look at the real work, to accept it, and then we can change organization and economical strategy. And it's important to understand that also. Okay, we can go next, thanks. And you can see that what is important also to be efficient in the way to produce this service, this relevant industrial service, is not to have the best technical machine equipment for the technicians, but it's this immaterial, intangible resources. Nicolas spoke about that. And the good news with that is that intangible inputs are not are good for the environment, because when you consume them, they don't disappear. They will develop them. I mean, such intangible inputs such as trust. When you give trust, when you feed trust, you don't lose trust. When you use computers, when you use vehicle, when you use tools, they're going to be used, and you have to go to change the tools in a time. So it's a good news, but they are very very important to be fit, and that's the task, that's the challenge of the organization, to help the employees to build these competencies, this trust, and this pertinence, relevance of service. We can go next. So that's the impact of the on the HR department to change the way to help the intangible resources to develop. And the impact of this different way to see and consider real work, it's also the consequence of the performance model. We don't consider the three classical dimensions the same way. As Nicolas says, the quality is not measurable, not always. It's not stable. So we have to talk about quality. We have to build a definition of quality. When I say we, it's the company with the customer. The productivity is not a process where we have to produce even more to be profitable. And it is linked to the question of rentability and productivity, also to do with interpretation of work. It's not the issue anymore. And rentability can be also sustainable. And there are two more dimensions of the performance. It's reflexivity. I said that there is the need in the enterprise to speak about what is quality, what is good job, what we do with the real need of the customer that we discover, what solution we build together. And this reflexivity can also be discussed with the customer. And the second dimension is externality and useful effects. So I won't go again on this dimension because Nicolas did. But just to understand that with these two dimensions, because the service is going to be more relevant thanks to those discussion on real work and decision to build collective solution, you will maybe avoid useless travel to a customer. Maybe because the answer is not technical, you can just help the customer in another way, and so to avoid a carbon footprint and unnecessary intervention, worker delivery. And the plus output is that it's fit cooperation, skills between workers, departments, but also trust and long-term relationship with customers. So that's a big deal, I think, and it allows to go away from just competitive relationship, and where the company has just to satisfy the customer is going to work with the company to build the solution. Next. Okay, and maybe to change also in the question of need, I said that it's going to change the work. So paying more attention to real work helps to change the organization and the economical approach, the proposal, and it's going to change the work again. So it's like a cycle. And the work of the commercial, as I said, is going to change. Maybe he is not anymore someone who is going to sell the good solution, but he's the one who is going to analyze the need that is behind the ask of the requirement of the customer. Nicolas spoke about function in the life, and for instance, in the case of a car, if a customer asks for a green electric car, the commercial is going to analyze what is this need for, what is this solution for, what do you need the car for. So he is going to analyze the need of mobility. And then maybe the car is not a solution. Maybe the car is a solution, but if the company who sells the car don't cares about the traffic jam problem, the customer will have a green card, but useless. He cannot go what he has to do in his life with his green card. So it's a useless production, useless sell, and it's not good for environment, but it's not useful for customer either. So it's a big issue to change these skills, this work of commercial also in the industry. And next, thank you. Okay, and to just finish, is the question of evaluation. When you sell something in this service model, even in industry, the story is not ended and maybe will never be ended. You have to evaluate if the service, industrial service, meets the need of the customer. And so it implies to build a system of evaluation inside the company, but also involving the customer and maybe stakeholders like collective institutions who takes of environment, and to analyze what has been which results were thanks to the service, and maybe the expected result, but maybe also unexpected results. That's what Nicolas says about useful effects, but also externalities. And that's also a way to reveal which will work the service was done. So it's a big issue, and it's a big issue to quit with just measurable quality, but it's the issue to go on capacity to speak about what it brings, the service, and how it was done. Okay, so that was the last issue to understand what will work help for a transition. Thanks for attention.
Thank you, Sophie. So now we go to source solution, external effects. I will leave the floor to Anne-Sophie.
Thanks a lot. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Anne-Sophie Verret, and I'm Executive Director of Source Solution. So I will try to illustrate to you how this transformation that we try to make, because we are not completely and fully succeed, has impact our company. So I will show you the internal impacts, and a lot of things have been said, and also partnerships implementation that needed our project of transformation, and customer change in behavior. So first of all, let me introduce you who is Source Solution. So we are an engineering office based in Riom, close to Clermont-Ferrand, in Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes, in France. We make a turnover of about 11 million euros. 10% of this turnover is made abroad, and we are 19 people. Most of them are engineers and high-level education. Our know is based on understanding the soil and the impact with infrastructure. As you can see, there is a lot of things and everything is put on the soil, like roads, tunnels, railroads, houses where we are living, everything. So our interest is to understand the mechanical impact of soil behavior with the structure. So we work mainly. Sorry, you can pass to next. So we work mainly in civil works, and our solutions are addressed to asset managers, builders, or engineering firms. That is our area. Our business model is based on two types of fields. So first one, I'm sorry, it's really small on the screen, but the first is historical, and we are conceptor and distributor of geotechnical products and software. And the other market, sorry, is we are making our own studies, and in this field we have two types of business. First one, which is more local and competitive, because there is a lot of people who are making this kind of studies. And another way is to cooperate with our customers and design for them methodologies where we are able to go through whenever our customers want. But I will be more specific about the first market, because we managed penetrometers that are used for controlling, studying and diagnosis infrastructure and the soil. And our flagship reference, named Panda, is sold in more than 80 countries in the world. As you can see, for us, we were producer. So we were thinking that we can associate services to our products. We make calibration, we are able to furnish spare parts, we can make trainings, we have the softwares, and we have a field of supporting our customers whenever they need once again. In 2016, we can go through, we began to think in another way. We were thinking not always about the product we sell, but we were thinking that the important was to understand how our customer will use our product. Will they make study, control, or diagnosis? So we began to work about a solution which is based on WebSprint, which is for us our new software, which is customer-oriented to his application. So for us, it was a really big change, and it profoundly changed our mindset. We do not sell a product, but rather a service that we will sell to our customers through the software. So at the beginning, in 2016, when we began, we were thinking it was three potential values. The first one was the continuity of service, and we guarantee to always have a product working for our customers. And because when you are an engineering firm, when your tools are not able to work, you have to pay your employees, but you cannot bill your customer. So it's really difficult, and as Sophie said, it's also uncomfortable for our customers, because our own customers are not in good condition, because you have to make a job and you cannot. So the first objective was to ensure quality of service to our customers. The second one, we were thinking about a system where finally our customer will choose the materials whenever he wants, and it's always like to buy the service, but he do not have to always have the product in his company. So we were thinking it was better for preserve resources, because we use electronical components, steel, and we have to be careful with the resources of the planet for sure. The other advantage that we were thinking about, it was to have a new relationship with our customer. We don't have only to be a supplier, and we don't have to see him when we have something to sell, but we wanted to be more an assistant, or and improve its own services. Thanks to data collection, for sure, we are able to improve everyday algorithm for his own studies. So in 2016, we decided to make the study, thanks to Cyril and Matthew, how to achieve our goal. During 2 years, we prepared the transition, and for sure it's a change system. So it was for sure a long time. Our conception team was the first one to be impacted. They have to think how to help our customer from their own desk, where our customers. So we had to think about, as I said, Sophie, more predictive maintenance than corrective one. The team that was developing the software also was really impact, because usually we work like specification, fixed specification, and you are waiting for a product or a software. And now we are thinking more customers. And I will explain you, but we have to be more focused and more reactive to be better and deliver a good value service. And in 2020, so it was four days. It was okay. Thank you. It was 4 years after the beginning of the adventure. We made our first experimentation in the French market only, and we make a new solution that is presented in the next slide. Thanks a lot. And we were able to deliver our product like all services. So what does it change? So a lot of things you can imagine. So the first thing you can go through. The first thing was for the sales force. Even if they were integrated to the reflection from the beginning, it is really difficult for them to go through a concrete product, to sell a concrete product to a software. And not only there is something immaterial to sell, so it's really different. And you have also an effect which is when you sell a product, for us it's about 10,000 euros. So when you sell a product of 10,000 euros, it is not the same deal when you are only earning a mensual fee. And for the people who are selling, it's really different. And I think it's a lot of time for changing their mindset. The other thing was for support services, because there is a lot of change. And as Sophie said, we have to think about preventive maintenance. But you have to think like that. But it also means that you have to forecast and to be relevant, because when the customer will buy your solution, you have to go quickly, because in our offer, we propose to our client, to our customer, to have another material if there is a failure or anything. So you cannot have one material for one sold. So it means that you have to reduce maintenance time. So as I said, you need more stocks because in our offer we have to lend materials for the customer can going walking, and so you need more space. And another impact really important, and I told you at the beginning, it was for the development team for the software, because maybe before there were 3 people working about the development. And now each month, it's 12 people, 3 hours meeting a month, because we are going through more value to the customers, and we decided to ask them what they want, to be more precise. Our chance is that our first customers are our employees, so it's a really cooperation way for working, and it's better for them, for skills, and for global vision of our know, I think. So this is the internal changes, and we have also a lot of impacts, and it requires to think out of your company, as Nicolas said. And in 2019, we were only 70 people. So we cannot have all the fields. We cannot make everything. We do not have all the skills, and it is a volunteer also to stay focused on our know. So we have to find partner for the financial one, for the first thing, because as the services is paid every month and not once when the product is delivered, for sure your cash flow there is a deal. So you have to plan to have someone for financial. We also make a partnership with an information engineering firm, because everything began dynamic in our case. So it was really important, because in our services we sold securities of data, of treatment of data. So it was really important to have good partnerships who are able to make that. A third field was to find a company that can make our calibration of our products. They have to be reactive, they have to be good, and it's an area really legal. So it was important for us to find partnership in our local area to find. And also a big issue is for sure logistic, because our customers are in all France. So if they need us and they need a new product because of a failure or whatever, we have to find someone who is able to go directly to our customer point and to be at the right time. So we have also to find all these partnerships, and you begin really, as it was said before, in a cooperative economy, and it's finally a great adventure. For our customer, to finish, it's almost 2 years, not really, and with the COVID crisis, for sure, it was a little bit complicated, but the servicization offer has begun, and it's a good point. We really see that the value of our services are increasing. Sorry, because we are focused on the services we deliver to our customer more than only take a product and sell to and deliver to our customer. So it's really really good for our customer. The value added, the continuity of service is confirmed. It's really impact our customers. They of course save money because they exactly know how much will be the services if they want to deal with the solution. There is no extra cost, everything is included. The thing is we have to be always in capacity to help them to make their works everything. And another thing that was pointed by our customers, they understand that if they make that, we are able to develop a second-hand market. And for us, we can make this product sold in another country or in another way, and all the resources that have been taken for make the product will be live again, because we have only one software and we can plug everything in one software. So, and I think it's a really good point, and the younger are the customers, the real is this advantage, because we are in a way of thinking how we make other things with the products, and we don't have only to go through to the bin. And finally, I can share you to prove the thing is in 2020. You can go next. We work. Thank you. We work with Ikwanda, which is a specialized firm, a consultancy firm of marketing, and we ask them to listen to our customers in France and all around the world to go through the next step. And finally, we discovered that it was really a proof of empowerment. And for our customers, we are not only supplier, we begin someone in which you can trust, because we will make our best effort to imply all the changes they want whenever they want. So it's not perfect. We have a lot of things again to do, but the relationship thing change, and it's really a good way for partnership performance. So thank you for listening.
Amandine, I think you can switch to the next slide for the questions.
Thank you, everyone. Do we have any questions?
I see a question about European projects. So you speak about different European projects. Do you think it's easy to set up an European project? What advice could you give to benefit from European project?
So maybe this question is addressed to Arnaud.
Yes, I think so. It's not so easy to answer. I won't say that European project as easy to manage or to deal with, but anyway, it is possible. Oftenly, the funding is a great advantage, and you can take benefit from the funding, and of course, to share experience with other countries and partner is valuable. And anyway, lots of structure are there to help companies to build and to go into consortia. For example, innovation hubs or clusters or research and transfer organization or regional agencies and so on. So it's not so easy to lead a proposal as first step, but you can begin to go into European project being a partner or a subcontractor, and then after much more experience, you can become a leader into a proposal. But usually we can advise to begin to go into collaborative projects as a first step at the national level. And once you are experienced in collaborative projects in your own country, you can then apply and go deeply into the European network and apply for European projects. So it's not so easy, but it's not impossible, and you've got lots of structure that can help you to go there. So I don't know if I answered the question, but it's my so people can help you first to make the survey, so to find the right and the relevant program, the relevant call, and then you can be helped to find partners, and whatever the issue, whatever the result, the experience will be valuable. And if you're not successful, next time you will be. So you have to go on and to try and to ask for help, because people and structure can help you.
Thanks a lot, Arnaud.
Any other questions?
I don't see any other questions. So unless you have something, I think we can show the next slide with the invitation that you have.
Yeah, so we would like to invite you to International Industrial Workshop in Saint-Etienne. It will be the 24th of November. And you can register at the link below, so on ProV 2021.
So this link will be also available in the comments or in the description on the YouTube, so that you will have an easier way to click and to connect. I want to invite you to sign up for this workshop. And I think I can thank you all very much for participating today. And of course, as always, we want to invite you to join the DigiFoF network, to visit our website where you can see recordings of the past webinars, trainings, and lots of useful things for learning more and collaborating in this area. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you very
Bye-bye.
much.
Thank you.
Thanks
Bye.
a lot. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.